Welcome to Washington in Focus. I'm your host, Brett Davis, the Center Square's Washington State Editor. Joining me today is Center Square reporter Timothy Schumann. So I'm just going to ask you right off the top, do you like camping?
I'm actually going camping on Labor Day weekend.
Oh, wow. Well, that ties in nicely with a story you recently wrote about a controversial initiative in Spokane that would ban camping within 1,000 feet of places like schools, playgrounds, and childcare facilities. And it will be on the November ballot in Spokane. A judge has cleared the way for that to happen. Give us some details, Tim.
Yeah, so a judge last week ruled that the voters have a right to petition their government to put initiatives on the ballot. And it was very unsurprising. The attorney who I spoke with, the attorney who was advocating for the ballot initiative to, be placed on the November ballot. And he basically said, yeah, this is, well within the right of the citizens to do. They've gathered the requisite number of signatures. They can petition their government, and it's going to go up for a vote.
Can you give us a rundown briefly on the pro side and the con side? What's the purpose of this initiative?
So like you said, the purpose of the initiative is to prevent camping within 1,000 feet of schools, daycares, basically like playgrounds, anywhere children would congregate. And the pro side is saying, we have a homeless problem in Spokane, and we need to use the tools at our disposal as, a democracy and a public to craft laws that protect our children in our community. And the pro side is saying that this will do that this will prevent, things like needles and drug use or fires in parks and encampments, from happening in areas that, this community's children congregate. And the con side or the against side is saying that this is just, more of the same failed policy, that it will result in, increased density of encampments. They're saying that enforcement will, be a nightmare, because how do you make signage for a 1,000-foot radius around the borders of all of these places? And, there's valid arguments on both sides, but the against side filed a lawsuit, several weeks ago, saying essentially that, they didn't want this on the ballot because they thought it was, I believe their arguments were usurping the authority of the city council, who was, granted the right by Washington State to have authority over the, homelessness plan and their comprehensive plan. And their other argument was that it would run afoul of the Martin v. Boise ruling, which essentially says that it was handed down, I believe, in late 2018 or early 2019. And it essentially says that cities are prohibited from blanket camping bans within, the city borders if there's not sufficient shelter space to be offered up for the, individual, in lieu of, kicking them out of their camping spot. And the judge essentially said, yes, this may run afoul of that, but it's not my job to keep it off the ballot. That's something to be adjudicated after the fact.
So this was obviously defeat for those opposed to the initiative. But opponents, they suffered something of another defeat as well. So what happened? Or should I ask, what didn't happen?
Yeah, so I had a chance to catch up with the Spokane County Auditor, Vicki Dalton, shortly after this ruling was announced. I heard a unsubstantiated rumor that the side arguing against the ballot initiative didn't actually get their ballot issue summary submitted on time to make it on the ballot. And she was kind enough to speak with me for, 15 minutes or so and substantiated that rumor, that the committee charged with arguing the, against side of this ballot initiative did not submit their piece in time.
Right. So it's been a really bad time recently for the opposition.
Yeah. And she was as disappointed as anyone, essentially saying that the people suffering from that are the voters, and that she, doesn't like it when both sides aren't represented on the ballot, because it just does a disservice to the voters. And,
right.
We had a nice little crack about, both sides of the political aisle being equally upset at her means she's doing her job right as the county auditor, which, given her tenure in the position, I think she's done a remarkable job. And, she essentially said it's her job to uphold the law, not pick sides or pick favorites. And, despite them only being, it sounded like minutes to hours late on their submission, she wasn't able to accept it.
Rules are rules after all.
Like she said, her job is to uphold the law. This could be not the last time this particular ballot initiative sees a courtroom.
I have a feeling you're probably correct about that. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Timothy Schumann, this is Brett Davis. Please subscribe and thanks for listening.